What's up, crew? It's Chris with CloverTac, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a rifle that most of you out there have probably never heard of, thanks in large part to the Gun Control Act of 1968. We're going to be talking about the Agawam Arms M68 rifle. For those that are new to the channel, here on CloverTac, we talk about all things firearm related. So if you're into that sort of thing, go ahead, jump down below, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to keep up to date on new content, go ahead and click that notification bell as well. Now, I was really excited when I had the opportunity to pick up one of these M68 rifles from Agawam Arms. So excited, in fact, that didn't pay a lot of attention when I went to purchase it as far as inspecting the rifle beforehand. Once I got home, got out on the range, got to checking out this rifle a little more closely, found out that something was off. And what that something was some Bubba had taken the barrel off this rifle, chucked it up in a vise, and used a hand drill to drill the chamber out from the stock 22 long rifle to 22 Magnum. And they didn't do a good job at all. It was very unsafe. And so I was a little bit discouraged because these rifles are sort of rare. And I knew that I probably would never find an original barrel out there anywhere. As luck would have it, I'm blessed enough to know an awesome gunsmith who is an awesome machinist. So I took it to him, explained the situation. He looked at it, and he was able to actually make a repair to the chamber, putting everything back to operational conditions, safe firing conditions, and also the original chambering of 22 long rifle. The moral of this story here, the reason I wanted to talk about that right up front, is if you're out there, if you're looking into purchasing a used firearm, be very, very careful and inspect everything you can about that firearm before you make the purchase. Agawam Arms was in business from about 1968 to 1971, and as you may have guessed, they were located in Agawam, Massachusetts. During that time, they produced roughly about 15,000 of this falling block style action, lever action, 22 long rifle that they designated the M68. Now, something really interesting about the Agawam M68 is that it's very similar in design, virtually identical in design, as a matter of fact, to the Ithaca Model 49. The action works the same. It looks almost identical. All the pins, the screws, the bolts, the furniture, everything is in the same location. But if you're thinking that the parts will interchange, they won't. The dimension on some of the pins and stuff like that are actually different. Now, while Agawam Arms started their business in 1968, in an interesting turn of events, 1968 was also the year that President Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law the Gun Control Act of 1968. Now, prior to this legislation, you had a lot of large chain stores like Sears, Montgomery Ward, Western Auto, JCPenney, etc. that sold a lot of firearms in their stores simply because there wasn't that much regulation when it came to the sale of firearms. Now, speaking of these large chain stores and firearms, got a quick question of the day. Do you own any firearms that were originally sold through one of these big chain stores? If so, jump down into the comments below and let me know. Now, due to the popularity of the sale of firearms in these big chain stores prior to 1968, that's sort of why Agawam Arms went into business. It was to design an economically priced rifle to be sold in these major chain stores. And of course, with the Gun Control Act of 1968, now the law of the land, it put massive amount of regulation, not only on manufacturers, but also dealers and civilian ownership alike. And it was because of this new regulation that these big chain stores, who readily stocked firearms prior to 1968, temporarily stopped selling them. This ended up devastating Agawam Arms as they lost all of those orders from the big chain stores because those big chain stores were taking some time to assess and properly become compliant with the Gun Control Act of 1968. Ultimately, Agawam Arms was bought out by Savage Stevens, who took the M68 product line and redesignated that the Model 89 under Stevens Savage, and also produced the same exact firearm for those newly compliant big chain stores as the Revelation Model 109. Now, it does make one wonder where Agawam Arms might be today had the Gun Control Act of 1968 not happened. So there you go, crew, a little look at the sort of rare Agawam Arms M68 rifle and a little bit of the history behind it. Remember, the conversation can always continue down in the comments below. I want to thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Until next time, don't forget to chain fire freedom.